My mother really loves picking up trash. When I was 5 years old, she found a jade bracelet. My hand accidentally got cut when I touched it, and the bracelet turned into my personal savings account. Since then, I've often borrowed money from my father and saved it there. Before I turned 10, my savings had reached 300,000. When I was 11, my mother found a pair of glasses. After putting them on, I could see the true value of an item. With my 300,000 in savings, I started buying inexpensive antiques. In just one day, my earnings could reach 8 million. Before I turned 18, I had secretly become a billionaire. After finishing my college entrance exam, I planned to finally tell my mother everything. But when I arrived home, I caught my father with his mistress. He was forcing my mother out of the house without giving her anything. My mother was furious and was about to fight back. I quickly covered her mouth because, to me, my father's wealth meant nothing. My father even insulted her. He said she was useless and that even the son she had raised had chosen to side with him. I could only suppress my anger. I wanted to show my mother my savings and tell her that she would never have to worry about money again. But before I could say anything, my father threatened me. He said all his money would eventually belong to the son in his mistress's womb. At that moment, I saw a green light above my father's head. I immediately remembered another ability I had gained after my mother found a strange seasoning and put it into our soup. After drinking it, I could see different colors representing a person's luck. Purple meant great fortune, red meant disaster, pink meant romance and a destined partner, and green meant the person was being cheated on. My mother is a traditional woman. A few years ago, my father's business failed, and he ended up in debt, 10 million. Since then, she's been working part-time to help pay off the debt while continuing her habit of collecting trash. Even so, she refuses to look for another man. My gaze fell on my father, who was getting cozy with a woman he called Yuan Yuan. She had large breasts and a slim waist. She really was a seductive streetwalker, objectively speaking. She was prettier than my mother, more feminine, and more appealing to men. It seems she's the one cheating on my father behind his back. I looked down at her stomach. There was a large red lump. It looked like the baby wouldn't survive. Realizing I was staring, Yuan Yuan trembled in fear. She was pretending to be weak and said in a whiny voice, "I'm scared. Your son's gaze is so terrifying. It's as if he wants to kill me. Could it be that he wants to harm the baby in my womb?" My father sensed her fear. He immediately puffed out his chest, standing in front of her like an unrivaled hero. Then he glared at me even more angrily. Even angrier than before. "Wanglin, take that look off your face right now. If I ever find out you dared to hurt my Yuan Yuan, don't blame me for cutting off our father-son relationship." My mother was the most protective person there was, and she loved me deeply. Hearing my father threaten me, she immediately stormed into the kitchen and grabbed a meat cleaver, screaming with a fierce expression that she was going to hack them both to death. My father's face changed instantly. Watching him play the hero like this, my heart turned cold. Years ago, when debt collectors came to the house, my father could only hide under the bed like a cowardly turtle. It was always my mother who risked her life to fight back. Once, there was a debt collector who got a bit too handsy and tried to assault my mother. My father covered his ears and pretended not to hear. I told him to go stop it, but he just glared at me with disgust instead. "What does a little kid like you know? If you provoke those people into coming here again, I'll strangle you to death." Later on, thankfully, the neighbors I'd called for arrived just in time, so nothing fatal happened. From that moment on, I started hating my father. I always tried to talk my mother into divorcing him, but my mother was incredibly stubborn. She always felt she had to give me a complete family. A year later, my father managed to seize a business opportunity. His career started improving. His debts were finally paid off. And to thank my mother, he bought her a piece of gold jewelry and transferred her 200,000 as a token of gratitude. From that point on, our lives started getting better. But my mother still couldn't shake her habit of picking up trash. She was just afraid my father would find it embarrassing, so she often wore a mask and went out to pick up trash secretly at night. One time I badly needed to pee and caught her sneaking out of the house. Half an hour later, she came back carrying a bunch of bags, big and small. The next morning, there was a pair of glasses sitting on my study desk. At first I thought they were just ordinary glasses. Who would have guessed that once I put them on, I could see the true value of things? A month later, my father claimed his company was going through hard times and cut my mother's household allowance. I was afraid we'd sink back into those hard days. I took those glasses to the antique market to try my luck. The very first time, I spent 5,000 to buy a dusty bracelet and sold it for 300,000. From then on, I kept looking for ways to buy cheap items that were actually valuable. In just 1 month, I'd already made 20 million and gotten to know major players in the antiques world. There were 20 old men competing to become my grandfather. As for those wanting to become my father, there were far more. I even once tried to secretly introduce one of them to my mother, but sadly, she had no interest in cheating, so I had to give up on that. I also tried to tell her that I was capable of making money on my own, but my mother always said I'd read too many Billionaire novels, and it had rotted my brain. I wanted to let her see the money in my storage space, but who knew my mother was so addicted to trash picking that she never once made time for me, especially since our family wasn't short on money anyway. In the end, I only occasionally threw away money and luxury items outside a trash can my mother was sure to pass by, and left it at that. This secret stayed hidden without a hitch all the way through my college entrance exams. Just as I was planning to come clean, my father got caught cheating. He truly wasn't destined to hold on to wealth. It seemed his fate really was to end up poor. The door slammed shut with a loud bang. My mother cried hysterically. It broke my heart to see her like that. I opened my bank account and switched off the number hiding feature, ready to reveal the 10-digit balance everyone would envy. At that point, my mother was already pounding the floor and screaming. She was clearly devastated. I'm just a housewife. How could I possibly win an argument? If I really get kicked out without a single cent to my name, how am I supposed to survive? I gave my mother a nudge, her biceps hardened from years of trash picking, trying to get her attention so she'd look at my savings. Who would have guessed I'd instead hear her say this next? If I leave this place, I won't be able to pick up trash here anymore. Trash piled up in mountains. Where else could I find an LV bag, Valentino shoes, and an iPhone 17 Pro Max 1 TB in a trash can? Where else do you think I could find dumpsters like these? I froze on the spot. The corner of my mouth kept twitching. I honestly couldn't believe it. I grabbed my mother's hand and asked, trembling, Mom, don't tell me this whole time the reason you never divorced him, it's because you couldn't bear to part with the trash cans around here. My mother stopped crying and shot me a scornful look. What's with that condescending stare? Do you have any idea your mother here relies on trash picking, but she's already bought 2 villas in your name? All of it is here waiting for you when you get married. She dug into the innermost pocket of her pants and pulled out a dazzling Rolex watch, along with an orange iPhone 17 Pro Max. She quickly opened it and pulled up her bank account. She held the phone up and shoved it right in front of my nose. You cheeky brat. Take a good look. Your mother, over all these years, has picked up enough trash to build up 20 million in savings. Far more than your father's company ever made in profit. Isn't this land here great feng shui? There's no way I'd let anyone else take it. I have to get this house even if it costs me the divorce. These trash cans have to belong to me. I could only stand there, jaw dropped. My feelings were a total mess. In that moment, I had no idea what to say. All this time, I thought my mother couldn't bear to let go of my father. Turns out she couldn't bear to let go of the trash cans here. And the mastermind behind all of this, it turned out, was me. After a long while, I finally spoke slowly, saying just one sentence. Mom, since you have so much money, why do you dress so shabbily every day? And those wrinkles on your face? Before I could even finish, my mother sprinted to the bathroom at lightning speed. After I heard the water running, she came dashing back out in front of me. Damn it, skin as smooth as a boiled egg, a face this pretty, features this exquisite, I could rival 5 yuans put together. My mother patted her own cheeks, her tone dripping with pride. Your mother goes to a luxury beauty salon 3 times a week. There's no way my skin isn't gorgeous. I've just been pretending to be poor. She grabbed my collar again and dragged me into the messy storage room full of used goods. Then, right in front of me, she pressed an inconspicuous button. Instantly, the wardrobe stuffed with tattered clothes let out a loud mechanical sound. From inside that wardrobe door, an elevator suddenly appeared. My mother dragged me inside. She pressed the button for floor -1. The moment the doors opened, an overwhelming amount of dazzling light poured out, blinding me instantly. I had to cover my eyes for a good while before I could see again. What lay before me left me stunned. A massive walk-in closet stretched out ahead, an entire area of jewelry, Hermes bags, and luxury watches. It all made my head spin just looking at it. I genuinely thought I'd wandered into a luxury mall. Meanwhile, my father was the poorest, most clueless one of us all. Little Lynn, this is the storage vault your mother built at great expense. One day, all of these things, every last one, will be left to you. I coughed lightly and straightened my clothes, getting ready to finally reveal who I really was. Just as I opened my mouth, my mother pinched both my lips shut. Little Lynn, now you've seen what your mother is capable of. All of this I earned by picking up trash. I am not about to hand it over just like that. Don't you dare dream of talking me into giving all this up. I'm going to hire a lawyer right now, no matter what it costs. We are keeping this place. I struggled and groaned, gesturing for her to let go of my mouth so I could actually speak. But my mother had already grabbed her phone and turned around to call a lawyer. Watching her back as she marched off to fight for justice, my feelings grew even more tangled. This time, I honestly had no idea. Should I tell her about the trash cans? If I exposed it, my mother's one and only source of joy after the divorce would be gone. But if I said nothing, wasn't I supposed to keep my identity as a rich man hidden a while longer anyway? After thinking it over, I decided to go ahead and shatter my mother's one true joy and put her to work at my company down the line. 50 years old is exactly the right age to start a new fight, but by the time I made my way back upstairs, she was already gone. A new message popped up on my phone. Little Lin, Mom's already got proof of your father's affair. Don't worry, I will absolutely hold onto this wealth-generating property. I've already thought it through. You were born a bit slow, so your entrance exam score will probably only get you into an average major. Not much of a bright future there. Once Mom secures this house, you'll have to come pick up trash with me at night. You'll build up your own savings from trash picking. Then someday, once you have kids of your own, pass this trash picking technique down to them too. Generation after generation, and it'll just keep going like that. After she finished typing all this enthusiastically, she sent me over a dozen more links. Mom's busy talking to the lawyer right now. These are all the tools needed for trash picking. Please buy them, and have them delivered to the house. As soon as she finished, she transferred me another 10,000 and added a note. This money came free of charge. It'd be such a waste not to spend it all. All these years, I really had been taking cash from my father's wallet. I really had been out there hunting down cheap antiques. I really had been building up connections and working hard to earn money. And on top of that, I had to spend my own time throwing money and luxury items into trash cans for my mother, worrying someone else might grab them first. I even had to stay up watching her pick through them every night before I could finally rest. I gritted my teeth and quietly accepted it. 10,000 that was already mine to begin with. Tonight at 8 p.m., trash can number 23. She also sent over her trash-picking strategy. Trash can number 37. For instance, which bins tend to have valuable items at a glance, which ones are loaded with electronics. I kept grinding my teeth as I received document after document. I then used my connections to terminate the partnership with my father's company. Hearing my offer, they didn't hesitate for a second before deciding to cut ties with my father's company. The next day, I deliberately went to my father's company just to watch the fallout. In the meeting room, upon learning that the primary partner had canceled the contract, my father exploded in rage. "President Chen, are you kidding me? We need to restock any minute now, canceling the contract at a time like this." Yuan stroked her belly and adopted the air of a boss's wife. "If you cancel the contract, you'll owe 2 million in damages." President Chen cut them off impatiently. He paid up and left without a care. My father smashed things around the office like a madman, watching him get exactly the karma he deserved. I got ready to leave, thoroughly satisfied, but my father stopped me furious. "Go home and tell your mother, don't even dream that she's getting that house. I won't give her a single cent." I stopped pretending to be nice and dropped the cold act. "I'm not going to help you deliver that message, and I'd suggest you obediently hand that house over to my mother." My father, enraged at my arrogance, slammed his hand on the desk. "I'm your father. Are you really going to disrespect your own father?" "That's right, Aulin. Even if he divorces your mother, he's still your father. You shouldn't become an ungrateful son. You're an adult now. You need to be able to tell right from wrong. Now hurry up and apologize." I rolled my eyes. Then, under my father's blazing glare, I gave him a warning, word by word. "Within 3 days, if you haven't divorced her and handed that house over to my mother, I guarantee you, your junk of a company will go bankrupt." My father figured I'd completely lost my mind, calling me insane. I didn't bother arguing about whether it was true or not. And sure enough, that same day, while my mother was explaining trash-picking techniques to me, my father came pounding furiously on the front door. "Why is every single one of my business partners pulling out of their contracts?" I opened the electronic lock. "Let's just talk about the terms I already laid out. Do you agree or not?" My father's face instantly flushed red with frustration. Ever since he'd gotten money, hardly anyone dared treat him without deference the way I did. The air went dead silent. Right as I was thinking about pushing things further before we negotiated, I heard my father grinding his teeth. "Fine, the house is yours. We'll sign the divorce papers right now." I went to open the door. Who would have thought, the moment it opened even a crack, my father shoved it open with all his strength. His slap nearly landed on my face. Seeing me dodge it perfectly, he grew even more furious. He grabbed a baseball bat by the door to swing at me again. I crossed my arms over my chest, standing perfectly still, and gave him a warning. "Dad, I'm not going to destroy your company outright, but if you dare lay a hand on me, you won't be able to survive in this industry ever again." I said it in an ice-cold tone. The aura around me was more unsettling than that of most wealthy family heads. The bat in his hand rose and fell a few times, and in the end he threw it to the floor. His expression was deeply conflicted. Then he asked me again, "Wang Lin, just who exactly are you? Why does everyone listen to you?" Of course, I couldn't tell him the truth right then. I gave him a vague answer instead. "You'll find out in a month. There's going to be a major auction at the auction house. Everyone with any real status will be there. Coincidentally, I could bring my mother along for some payback and maybe find myself a decent father figure at the same time." But my father misread the situation entirely, assuming the man backing me was some sugar daddy my mother had lined up. someone who could only show his face after the divorce. Fine, it's just a house, take it. After signing the papers as fast as possible, he stormed off, seething with anger. After getting the divorce certificate, I called my special assistant to release my father's company from its troubles. I also had him arrange a graduation trip for me, a full month away. Who would have guessed, before I could even finish talking, my mother suddenly burst into the room. She said, full of energy, "Little Owlin, come on. Come pick up trash with your mother." My expression turned wry, but my voice was completely confident. "Mom, want to make a bet with me? I'm betting that tonight we won't find any good trash. If I win, you have to grant me one request." My mother crossed her arms over her chest. "And if you lose? Then I won't go out and play at all this summer break. I'll come learn trash picking with you instead." My mother looked like she'd just won a 5 million lottery jackpot. She clapped her hands over her mouth in delight. "Excellent. What are we waiting for? Let's head out right now." She marched off ahead of me, full of enthusiasm. The corner of my mouth curled into a faint smile. Tonight, I deliberately made sure no one threw out money or luxury goods into the trash. My mother nimbly leapt to the very first trash can. Her right hand reached inside. She pulled out something glimmering, a jade and emerald pendant that screamed expensive at first glance, and an unconscious woman, strikingly beautiful, but covered in wounds from head to toe. My mother cleared her throat softly. She immediately hauled the woman out of the trash can. Then she shoved the woman straight into my arms. "You're all grown up now. It's about time you started dating. I'm leaving this matter to you." It took me quite a while to process what had just happened. I gave in and had my special assistant find her a good hospital. I'd only just gotten the woman into the emergency room when news popped up on my phone. The youngest daughter of Hong Kong's richest man, Yu Yaowei, kidnapped, large reward offered for her safe return. With trembling hands, I opened the attached photo. It looked exactly like the woman my mother had just picked up out of the trash. I hurriedly forwarded the news to my mother. "Oh my God, Mom, we've got a serious problem on our hands. How could she possibly end up all the way here? And if I told them my mother just picked her up out of a dumpster, do you really think anyone would believe that?" My mother stayed remarkably calm. "It's fine. This is a small matter. Every challenge is an opportunity. We need to move fast. I think this girl's face is really something. She'd make a great match for you." I still had more to say, but my mother had already tossed a plane ticket in that direction. "Xiaolin, Mom's getting old. I'm going on vacation. You handle this on your own, all right? See you again in a month." When I tried to message her again, I found that my mother had already blocked me and taken off. Classic biological mother of mine. The second there's a problem, she just tosses it straight at me. In the end, I decided I'd just give the woman some money once she woke up and send her home on her own. But when she actually did wake up, I was left confused by what the doctor told me. Her head took a hard blow. She has amnesia. My face went even paler. I collapsed weakly into a chair. But the woman lying in the bed just blinked playfully at me, grabbing my hand with easy familiarity. "Big brother, I'm hungry." Watching this woman, 4 years older than me, act all clingy and sweet. After having my assistant order her some food, I immediately contacted the number listed in the news article, adding them as a contact and sending Yu Yaowei's photo. They replied within seconds. "Please wait. Our boss will be there shortly by helicopter." I told them to keep this quiet, hiring expensive security in the meantime. No matter what, before Mr. Yu arrived, Yu Yaowei had to stay alive and safe. Thankfully, nothing went wrong. Seeing his daughter alive and well, the elderly, white-haired Mr. Yu grasped my hand with intense emotion. "Thank you for saving my daughter. Ask for anything. As long as it's within my power, I will walk through fire and water for you without hesitation." I quickly waved my hands. "As long as she's all right, I want for nothing." After saying that, I got ready to make my escape. I really didn't want to touch this hot potato any further. Who would have thought a pair of hands grabbed my arm? "Big brother, you don't want me around anymore, do you? I'm not your favorite person anymore, am I? Didn't you promise to stay with me for life?" The moment those words left her mouth, countless suspicious stares immediately turned toward me. Terrified they might misunderstand and think I was taking advantage of her, I hurried to explain. "Please don't misunderstand. I only said that offhand because she has amnesia and gets overly clingy with me." Especially worried that Mr. Yu Changming might get the wrong idea, I made sure my tone was firm and deliberate, word by word. "Mr. Yu, I swear, I have absolutely no improper intentions toward your daughter. I have zero interest in marrying into a rich family. Besides, I already come from a wealthy family myself. I have more than enough money. There's no need for me to climb any social ladder." As soon as I finished speaking, I turned to make my escape. Yu Yaowei burst into tears and grabbed my hand, then closed her eyes and fainted right there. It scared the life out of me. After the doctor arrived, he gave a warning. "Mr. Wang, The patient is currently feeling very insecure, which is why she's become so dependent on you. I'd recommend that you spend more time with your sister. I was just about to protest that she wasn't my sister when old Mr. Yu suddenly bowed 90 degrees to me. Young man, until my daughter recovers, please stay by her side. Seeing the dazzling golden glow above his head, the words of refusal simply wouldn't come out of my mouth. This man's fortune was extraordinary. He'd likely live to at least 800 years old. More connections, more opportunities. Fine, I agree. The only unlucky part was that nobody had warned me just how clingy this amnesiac Yu Yaoi could be. The moment she was out of my sight, she'd bombard me with messages like crazy, staring at 109 unread messages. I let out a long sigh. It seemed the auction was coming up in a week. I'd have to bring her along. This auction really did need to happen with her there. As it turned out, it fell on the exact same morning my mother went to collect the divorce certificate. My father spat out some cruel words, declaring that from that moment on, our ties were cut. We'd never see each other again. Yet that very afternoon, we ran into each other again at the entrance of the auction house. Seeing my mother, who had dropped her usual disguise, and now looked 10 times younger and more beautiful, my father assumed she'd shown up on purpose just to flaunt her newfound power. He ordered the security guards over. Throw these uninvited people out right now. The commotion drew quite a crowd. Onlookers pointed at me and whispered among themselves, who's bold enough to cause a scene at the Fusang auction house? Right. Everyone knows that for the past 7 years, the Fusang building has been backed by a mysterious boss, someone who can supply not just priceless antiques, but has also built countless connections through him. Their business just keeps growing. I really couldn't stand the crowd anymore, and the way they were staring at me like I was some kind of zoo animal, so I flashed the black card in my hand. Instantly, the entire room fell silent. The security guards, who'd been ready to charge, froze on the spot. This was a facility reserved only for the highest-tier VIPs. Cards like this one, so far, the Fusang building had only ever issued 10 of them. The crowd's stares toward us shifted from contempt to deep respect. Some even sent people to find out who we really were, hoping to befriend us. Only my father still had no idea what was going on. He pointed at us and shouted, "Why is everyone just standing there? Arrest them now. Are you seriously going to let these irrelevant people threaten our security?" The moment he finished, someone called him classless. My father, furious, grabbed the man's collar and demanded to know what right he had to insult him. The man sneered back. "That's the Fusang building's top-tier black card. Even the owners here, whenever they visit, have to bow to greet whoever's holding it. Don't you feel embarrassed?" The moment he finished speaking, my father's disbelieving stare landed on us. How could the person holding that black card possibly be my son? He only just finished his college entrance exam. How could he be a distinguished guest at the Fusang building? Exactly. Old Wang, he probably just picked that card up somewhere. He hid behind his pregnant girlfriend, pointing at me and shouting at the security guards. "Quick, this mother and son are thieves. They stole something belonging to your important guest. Arrest them and hand them over to the police right now." The instant he finished, a voice of disagreement rang out. If he's a thief, then why would the daughter of the richest man in this port city be following them around herself? This remark left everyone stunned all over again. Everyone turned in unison to stare at Yu Yaoi standing beside me. Her background turned out to be that impressive. My father's expression instantly changed. Assuming the black card belonged to Yu Yaoi, he dropped his contemptuous attitude entirely. He held out a business card and stepped closer, full of hope. "Miss Yu, my son here is still young after all. There's bound to be a lot he's overlooked. How could something so valuable be entrusted to him for safekeeping? Allow me to hold onto it instead." As he spoke, he smiled and reached to snatch the black card from my hand. I stepped back, dodging his hand, and looked at him with a mocking smile. "Who said this black card belongs to Yu Yaoi?" The smile on my father's face froze, and right before he could go back to acting all high and mighty, I pulled my mother and Yu Yaoi into VIP room number 1. He tried to follow us in, but was blocked by the guards outside the door. "Sir, VIP room number 1 is reserved strictly for distinguished guests. Please don't force your way in. Otherwise, we'll have no choice but to ask you to leave Fusang Tower." My father's face turned red, clearly wanting to say something. "Darling, let's go find a seat first. We came here to buy that jade Buddha for our son's safety, remember? Let's not lose sight of what matters most." A jade Buddha? What a coincidence. I happen to like those two. Today, fate had decided they wouldn't be walking away with anything. The charity auction began. The first item up was a jade Buddha. Since its quality was fairly average and its size wasn't particularly large, most people weren't interested. My father noticed only a handful of people raising their paddles, and since he was the wealthiest among them, he figured he had this in the bag. On his final raise, he jumped straight from the 1 million already offered to 1.5 million in one go. The moment that price was announced, no one else bid further. Hearing the auctioneer's second long call of 1.5 million, going twice, his whole body relaxed. He leaned back in his chair, waiting for the final strike of the gavel. But right as the final hammer was about to fall, the massive screen in the room updated instantly. VIP room number 1 bids 3 million. Someone had gone even higher. My father's face instantly twisted like he'd just eaten garbage. 1.5 million was already the absolute limit of what he could afford. Yuan started to panic. She quietly tugged at the hem of his shirt. "Darling, it seems your son is leaning on some rich woman, deliberately trying to cause trouble for the baby in my belly. I don't care. I dreamed our son wanted that Buddha. You have to get it for him." This remark gave him an idea. He tried to calm her down. "I'll go ask him for it later. I'm his father, after all. There's no way he'd refuse me." Just as he finished speaking, the auctioneer brought the gavel down for the third time, calling it sold. Hearing that I'd just spent 3 million, my mother's face showed genuine distress over the money. "You naughty child. You open your mouth and just drop 3 million like that. That money, who knows how much trash your mother would have to pick up to earn it back. Never mind. My money will end up going to you eventually anyway. Here, take it and use it." I couldn't help laughing at her expression, pushing the card back toward her and showing her the balance on my phone instead. "Mom, you're seriously underestimating your own son. Go ahead, count how many zeros there are." She immediately snatched the phone from me, genuinely counting the zeros on my balance back and forth, 5 times over. Counting it as 6 digits, her whole body started trembling. "Oh my God, where on earth did you get this much money? You didn't rob a bank, did you? Or is this from that little girl you rescued, a gift from her family?" Her family really did try to give it to me, but I already turned it down, gently. "A debt that big, how could it ever be repaid with just money? So doesn't that mean I've lost out big time?" I grinned wide. "Go on, guess, Mom. Why do you think your son could get into VIP room number 1? As one fellow secret rich person to another." My mother immediately caught my meaning. She lunged forward and hugged me tightly. "No wonder you're my son." But then she quickly grew angry again, pinching my cheek hard. "You thought your mother was an idiot, huh? Who knew you'd actually lie to your own mother? You owe me compensation for this. As it happens, your mother needs a pair of earrings. You're winning them for me today." Once she had my approval, she didn't hold back at all, winning a pair of emerald earrings worth 10 million. Winning a pair of emerald earrings worth 10 million. The moment that 10 million price tag came out, Yuan couldn't sit still any longer. "Wang Dakan, have you lost your mind? When you two got divorced, how much money did you actually give that mother and son? And now they're just casually dropping 10 million like it's nothing." I went on to spend another 50 million, buying a white jade cup carved with a wine dragon motif, and 60 million more for a massive treasure said to bring good fortune, in just 20 minutes. I'd already spent 100 million. This time, it wasn't just my father who was shocked. Everyone else in the room gaped in disbelief too. As far as they were concerned, there was no way anyone could pull together 100 million in liquid cash that fast, which meant this money had to belong to someone else entirely. Their attention drifted away from the auction items and turned instead to investigating who I really was. What they found only left them even more stunned. "Oh my God, the controlling shareholder of the Sangin Group has changed to Wang Lin? What? He also holds 40% of the shares in Giant's shipping industry. Quick, look at the announcement. He's been recognized by the retired elders at the very top and formally adopted as their heir. He literally just finished his college entrance exam. How can this kid be this impressive?" As they talked, they shot my father envious glares. Feeling the full weight of that envy directed at him, my father felt anything but happy. All he felt was regret over having missed out on the $50 million prize earlier. He never once imagined that my earlier threats toward him had been backed by my own unmatched connections, and had nothing to do with my mother supposedly finding some rich man to back her up. Then he rushed straight to the entrance of the VIP room, eager to get in my good graces. But others moved even faster than him. They lined up in unison, offering their business cards to me all at once. He couldn't even squeeze his way in. When I finally stepped out, he tried to approach me, but got shoved aside by someone else instead. Off balance, he stumbled and fell to the floor, landing right at my feet. Looking utterly pathetic, I helped him up, and with great show of concern, brushed the dust off his knees. My father was overjoyed, thinking I still considered him a father in my heart. Then he heard me open my mouth again. "Wang Dakan, judging by your face, you're going to be betrayed and abandoned by everyone around you. You were never destined to have a youngest son. I'd suggest you take a good, close look at the child in your new girlfriend's belly. Is it really even yours?" On reflex, he wanted to curse me out like he used to. But then he caught the guilty look on Yuan's face and immediately shut his mouth. If what I just said is true, isn't he raising some other man's bastard child? A DNA test wouldn't hurt either. He grabbed Yuan in a panic and dragged her off to get an amniotic fluid test. Watching their backs disappear into the distance, I smiled coldly to myself. I couldn't wait to see the look on his face when he got that test result back. Just as I was thinking about it, my mother lowered her voice and whispered in my ear, "You go handle your own business. Mom's going to go watch the show unfold. I'll record it on video so you can enjoy it too later." When Yu Yaowei, who had stayed quiet the whole time, suddenly spoke up. Do you need help checking on her? Hearing her tone, sweet and clingy, so different from usual, I turned to look right away and happened to lock eyes with a deep, amber-colored gaze. I felt a little thrill. Has your memory come back? She nodded, a faint smile in her eyes. Yes, you've gone through so much trouble for me this whole time. Let's have dinner together tonight as a thank you. Before the words of refusal could even leave my mouth, she'd already sent me the restaurant's address. Hasn't your company been wanting to expand into the port city recently? I can actually help with that. Let's talk it over dinner. Wouldn't that be great? The words of refusal spun at the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them right back down. People can make an enemy out of anything, just never out of money. All right, I'll be there on time. Yu Yaowei left, thoroughly satisfied, and went off to find my mother, while I stayed behind to chat with the business owners I still needed to network with. Spending 100 million so conspicuously today was, in fact, entirely intentional, meant to catch the attention of these business figures, and to pave the way for what I had planned next. After wrapping up a few deals, night had already fallen. I hurriedly called a car to head to the restaurant. Inside the car, I got a video from my mother. In it, my father and Yuan were in the middle of a fight. My father's face looked absolutely menacing. I divorced my wife for you. I threw away my own promising son for you. And you had the nerve to cheat on me behind my back, and you still expect me to raise this bastard child? She kneed my father right in the groin. You disgusting old geezer. If it weren't for your money, you think I'd want to be with you? A man who abandons his own wife and child like you, and you still think you deserve a son? I curse you. May you be doomed to be infertile with your bloodline cut off for good. My mother was absolutely thrilled. Messages from her came flooding in one after another. Lin, Mom is beyond happy right now. Your father's manhood has been completely destroyed. Guess why your mother's luck has been so good, raising a son as good as you, and still able to pick up so much money through my own hard work. Anyway, your mother's getting ready to go pick up more trash now. I was just about to come clean to her when my car pulled to a stop in front of the restaurant. Fine, if my mother really loves picking up trash, then let her. Once I walked into the restaurant, Yu Yaowei attentively pulled out a chair for me. After I sat down, she didn't say a word. She just looked at me, smiling. It went on long enough to give me chills. Right as I started thinking this older woman was about to try seducing a younger man and confess her feelings, she said, Lin, I've always wanted a little brother. Would you be willing to think of me as your older sister? I let out a long sigh and nodded without hesitation. There's no way a grown woman could compare to a younger girl in terms of fun anyway. Besides, I'm already rich, no need to tie myself down to just one woman. Just as I was quietly feeling lucky to have gained a powerful new backer, a call came in from my mother. The moment I picked up, I heard her shrieking so loudly it nearly burst my eardrums. Lin, we've got a problem. Your mother just picked up a handsome older man this time.